Hello and welcome to Tear Down These Walls podcast. Here we tear down the walls of silence, shame, and stigma one story at a time. And today for episode 10, I have Kevin Carroll. Kevin, you're very welcome.
Thanks, Asa.
And I'll just say, I do know Kevin. I didn't grow up with him, but he is my cousin Christine, who we had on. We had Christine on for episode 2. Yeah. So you're Christine's brother-in-law.
I am.
And not only that, but you're also Christine's sister was your ex-partner and you share 2 children. So there's 2 brothers and 2 sisters together.
Complex.
I can imagine, Kevin. Certainly doesn't make it easy. I have actually 2 cousins in Portleash who are married to 2 brothers too. So 2 sets in the family because it's rare, isn't it? But you're very welcome, Kevin. And usually what I just start with is we start with childhood. So if you'd like to tell us where you grew up and a little bit about your family background and what it was like.
So I'm the youngest of a family of 3 kids. Now my brother Gary, who's married to Christine, and a sister as well. I'm the only one in the family that wasn't born in Ireland. I was born in England.
Didn't know that.
In 86, yeah. When my dad went to work in London. And I popped along then when we were over there. And I suppose just like that's always made me feel, that alone has always made me feel a little bit different to me siblings.
So sorry, are you the youngest, Kevin?
I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest,
I'm the
okay.
baby,
Yeah.
But yeah, I grew up in Marino, not too far from Sherritt Street, where a lot of your guests have grown up, but a world away at the same time, completely different upbringing.
It's about what, 15 minutes, is it?
Probably a 5-minute drive.
5-minute drive, but to walk through, if you walk through Fairview, it would be 15, 20 minutes.
That far at all, but like definitely a world away, had a really good childhood.
We would have thought you were posh.
Yeah.
No, we
yeah,
would definitely would have said, we would have been like, oh, the poshies live there.
Yeah, and I would have been said to me by Kira when they started going out with Kira as well, like that. Like you'd be almost like a fucking snob, like from Marino, because it was just a completely different way of life and everything else, But yeah, like my childhood was good, my dad is originally from Hill Street Flats.
Is he?
Yeah, so my dad's a townie.
Yeah.
My ma's originally from Marino, and it's gas, like what you were saying there, like when my ma used to go down to the flat when my ma and dad were dating, my ma would have gotten the same reaction, sort of like the snob from Marino, from I think it was from my granddad, and my dad sort of would have grown up. My dad had a hard upbringing, he did. He was the eldest in the family. I'm not sure exactly. I think there's 6 of them. But he was the eldest, so he was the one that, everything was brought on him, sort of, like if he did nothing wrong, he was made an example of, so the others wouldn't do it and stuff. And my granddad was an alcoholic.
Okay.
Which didn't help things, but that's, I suppose, there is addiction in the family and stuff, and I think from that, my dad carried generational trauma through.
Well, the eldest of 6 back in that time, father and alcoholic, just going to be stuff there. And you'll find the eldest, nearly I find in every family, if you look at them, there's always a heavier load on the eldest, Yeah.
But so I wouldn't have understood anything about generational trauma or like that, you know what I mean, until I went into recovery myself and I started looking at stuff but I had a great upbringing, I did, and the household was loving and there always something within me that I just always felt different. I don't know, and I always felt like the black sheep of the family, I don't know why from an early age I felt that, but I think growing up, I didn't have any self-worth in myself. I didn't have any self-love.
What was it that made it, Kevin, feel different? Like, was it just a feeling, or did you feel like, because every parent is different to each child? Like, we think that we parent their kids the very same, but we don't. I'll see the differences in how I am. You know, it depends on the day as well. But I do see about, like, I mean, I certainly wasn't the same mother to Clayton than I was to Carla and Luca, cost a few years, and where I was in a relationship financially, all those things that contributing factors. Like,
I do see that myself, even with my own kids. Like, you know,
yeah.
like Aria she'll be 9 in February, and she's on the spectrum,
Mm,
and she's fucking amazing. Like, you know, she's
yeah.
absolutely amazing, and as is Ada. But I've always be a little bit more softly with Aria than I would be with Ada. I'd probably be a bit harder on Ada. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we've spoke about it a few times, but Gabor Mattei, he speaks about a lot of these things that we've always taught, but he's speaking about them out loud, and you're getting a real understanding. How could you be? You're a completely different person now with Ada than you would have been with Aria, and I think it's the same for everybody, Kevin. So it would be the same for our parents as well. I know I was parented completely different to my two younger siblings.
Yeah.
You know, they had completely different experiences to me.
Yeah.
So.
And like, probably with me being the baby of the family, like, you know what I mean? I probably got away with more stuff maybe than my siblings did. But I don't know. I don't know why I felt. I don't know why I felt different. Like, you know, I know, and I don't hold any resentments. I spoke to you about this before. Like, but I remember walking in and hearing me ma talking to her friends, and she said that it was a mistake, like, and that it wasn't planned, you know. And as a
How old were you?
I'd say I was younger than 10.
Okay, so you were really
Younger
young.
than 10, yeah. And as a child hearing that, like I understand now as an adult, you know, one of my kids was planned, but one of my kids wasn't planned. So like, I fully understand where she was coming from, but just hearing that as a child, it just, I don't know, it made me feel like that.
I'm not so supposed to be here. They didn't
supposed
want
to be
me.
here, yeah.
All those negative. And you know, when you're a kid, that little voice, it can be so powerful, you know, to tell you stuff like that. Yeah.
And then, like, I remember my mad had a miscarriage before me, and I remember my brother saying to me, like, I think we were fighting one time, and he says, "Oh, if Mum hadn't had a miscarriage, you wouldn't even fucking be here." Like, and I was like, well, that sort of ties in with what my ma was saying, and you know,
then it was starting to make sense in your head. Yeah.
So I just think that, like, I think, like, when my ma and dad came home from London in '88, my dad bought the Strand house and down the North Strand, and this is where the connection with Sheriff Street sort of began, you know.
It was a massive local to people in Sheriff Street.
It was, and it was like amazing people that drank in that pub. Like,
yeah, sure. I remember it. I was thinking about when you were coming down, and because I went to Strand House, I used to be shitting because I was 14, 15, Kevin. Because I remember my two cousins, Eva and Michelle, I was heavily pregnant, approaching my 16th birthday. I was due Clayton in the March, and I was 16 in the February. And they brought me up to the Strand House. They brought me into town for dinner, and then they said we'd go into the Strand House for a drink. And I remember I said, they're not going to not serve me. I'm really, but I was 16 sitting there. I don't know what I was drinking, whether I even had a drink, but yeah, it was a local, like, to go to. It's a place to be for a long time.
Yeah, I think it was like, if you weren't welcome at Knockers, I think you drank in the Strand.
They moved up then. You went up the arches.
But yeah, so, like, I think because when my dad had the pub, like, and in the early years of the pub, my dad would have worked a lot in the pub.
Yeah.
But then the pub would have started to run itself, you know. Like, I know it took me dad a little while at the start to sort of clean up the pub when he first bought it over, and to get to know people, and, you know, who was trouble, who wasn't trouble, and stuff like that. And so after a few years, the pub would have sort of ran itself, and my dad would have done part-time work, sort of, and that then he would have spent a lot of time golfing.
Okay.
And I think when my dad started to spend a lot of time golfing and stuff like that, and I wouldn't have seen as much of him. I think that's when like my relationship with my dad sort of would have started to turn, because when I was like as a child, I idolised my dad. You know, my dad's a chippy by trade. All I ever wanted to be was a chippy. I remember Santi one year bringing me a wooden tool box. It was like a dartboard box, but it had like real tools in it, and it went missing. And I never asked any questions as to where it went. And my ma told me years later that she had to get rid of it because I was trying to cut the legs off the chairs in the house and all with the saw.
Wasn't a great gift.
It wasn't a great gift, yeah. It was great on paper.
Yeah.
But that would have been like, that mischief side of me would have been like throughout my whole childhood. Like,
but the connection with your dad, with the walk was...
It was always like, it was always really strong, like with him, you know. And I think that's when things started to sort of separate, like for me, like, you know, I remember I've always carried weight on me. I've always been like a big lad, like, and it's always been a big thing for me. I remember as a child, like, not wanting to take my t-shirt off down at the beach, and, you know, just like hating myself, hating how I looked. Yeah, really conscious of it as a child, which, you know, and I shouldn't have been. I don't know why it was. And throughout my childhood, it was always that in the back of my mind, like, don't let people see that you're conscious of it in one way, but then not wanting to take my t-shirt off. I thought like people wouldn't be thinking that, but obviously people would know why I wouldn't want to take my t-shirt off. But leading into my teens, then having that attitude, like I would have always tried to be the centre of attention.
To deflect.
To deflect away from that.
So if I'm funny, no one will talk about the weight with the weight or you know, you find that with a lot of people that has insecurities, don't you, Kevin? You know, they will deflect and become the funny guy or the nasty guy or the whatever guy, just so people is not zoning in on the thing that they're insecure. I get it.
God forbid if anyone actually saw the real me or how I actually really felt inside. And again, like growing up, I know a lot more about myself now, and I know a lot more about the reasons why I did certain things. But back then, I didn't have a fucking clue, like, you know.
So what did it do to you? Like, what was your suit of armour? Because I know, like, I would have hid my pain with trying to be happy all the time, trying to be funny, entertaining people, until I found the alcohol and the drugs. Like, they were more armours. But that's what I would have been like. What did it do to you? Were you...
It was, it's like being funny, sort of just being one of the lads, you know. One thing I did find from an early age is if I had money in my pocket, that I could buy stuff, you know.
It made you feel...
It made me feel good, like, and, you know, if you like going to the shop with the lads, like, you could buy them something out of their money, and
so you'd be like,
get the gratitude for that, you know, and that's probably where me first, like, where the first signs of addiction probably would have came into me life, like, because I remember tiptoeing into my man and dad's room when I was in primary school to rob change out of my dad's pockets for the school shop, you know. Again, I was probably 10, 11 or so when I started doing that. And one thing that my man and dad did always try and do with us was, like, they tried to instill, like, they did instill good ethics with us, like, but, like, especially around money and stuff like that, like, but it worked with my brother and my sister. I don't think it worked with me, because the more money I had, the better I felt. And, you know, that I was able to project onto others then when I had money, like, you know.
It was that real addict behaviour. Give me more. I feel good with a little bit of this, so now I want more. I want more. I want more.
Like,
filling that hole, isn't it, Kevin?
Yeah. And like I was sent out. I was put out to work at 11. I had my first
Was this
job.
in the pub?
No, because you weren't allowed legally work in the pub until you're 13.
Okay. So, that was to a lounge girl or lounge boy, wasn't it? Yeah.
And that was only if you were a family member of the owner. So you had to be older if you weren't a family member.
Because I was 14, I was over in the Humphreys across the way. I was a lounge girl over there. Yeah.
But like, so I was 11. I was put out to work. My mum said you have to get a job, and I started delivering papers. So I used to do papers around Marino. Did that for 2 years. I fucking hated it. I'll be honest with you. Like, I hated having, like, none of my mates were having to work. Like, and I was like, why the fuck do I have to do this 3 days a week after school?
There's your resentment starting, Kevin.
Yeah, 100%. But I remember, like, we used to start. It was all around Marino, like, and we used to pick them up down in I can't think of the name of the shop now. It was down in Fairview, beside the Fairview Grill. It's where Centra is now.
I know where you're talking about, yeah. Where the Abracadabra was there, was it?
No, further up. We know the
Oh,
egg
sorry,
market.
I know where you're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
with the
further on.
lane way where
Yeah.
the egg market is.
Mm.
But on the corner there's a hardware store in the corner.
Edges
corner.
Edges.
And
Yeah.
there's a woman, Sean Ballybock Margaret was her name, and I used to collect the papers off her. I'd go one way and she'd go another, and then we'd meet up and get more papers. And like, I remember having, like, she wanted me to go through the railings in the park in the bottom green and go through the grass to the other side. And I used to do them on my rollerblades. I was like, I'm fucking getting these rollerblades. I don't want them to get wrecked going through the grass. And not only that, I was too fat to fit through the gap in the fence. So I was like, I was trying to hop the fence with papers over my arm and all. And so I used to just go around the park.
Yeah.
And she'd always get to the next stop before me. And she'd be like, what's that taking you so long? And I was like, I didn't want to go through the grass because of my rollerblades. Really, it was because I couldn't
You
get
couldn't be
through the
through.
fucking fence, you know? I was always just that little chubby fella, like. But that was my first job, and that was my first, I suppose, like, my own money, you know, my own sort of sense of having my own money and what having money could bring to me, or you know, where it would lead me, like. And then I started working in the Strand at 13 then.
Yeah.
And again, like, it's mad because I hated school. Like, I never liked school. All I wanted to be was a carpenter. I never got woodworking skill or anything like that. My mum wanted me to move skills. I was like, not a chance.
What secondary did you go to, Kevin?
Reach.
Art school.
On the end of the Avenue.
I know where it was because Clayton went to school. We're beside it, the primary school.
I was in school. I was in Vincent's. I was in school with it, and I was in art school Reach. So I was in all the schools. I used to meet Rhonda.
Because her daughter Siobhan,
be bringing our young one to
that's right, because she put me onto that. I was looking to put Clayton into a school outside the area, thinking it'd be good for him to mix with other kids. It was good for him, in fairness, but I thought it was going to be this magic wand that completely, you know, transformed everything.
It's classic because I know when, like, they came up, not that it came up when you were talking to Rhonda, like, it came up around his chest. I think you brought a fella to me or something.
My husband was there walking, and I said, we're walking towards on Talbot Street, and she wears these stringy black vest tops. You know, she don't just know why I'm saying this. And I was like, I don't think I had an opportunity to say don't, but he was staring. You couldn't help at the chest, like, so you know.
I was only a young fella, like, you know what I mean? And I was walking in the Strand, and I knew her from the Strand, and like, through Sandra Bat and all, you know, our family used to drink in the Strand. And I remember walking to school one day, and I could see her coming to work and her elbow me, mate. Like I said, there's a woman I was telling you about with the tits, like, you know.
She loves it. She absolutely loves it. She does.
But so like, so skill was never really important to me, like, and then walking in the Strand, then I loved it.
I was going to say, what was that? What was it like for your mad and dad to run a pub or to own a pub? Like, what did it do to you? Like, I can't imagine, because I started drinking at a young age. I cannot imagine if my mother and father had owned a pub.
Not like, it was weird in a way. Like I suppose to everyone on the outside, all my friends and stuff like that, like, it would have looking like I had the best fucking life. Like, maybe not the best life, but it would have looking like everything was fucking rosy, you know what I mean? My man that had a pub.
Well, it did give, like, Kevin, it gave, like, compared to for most of us, anyone that had a business or ran a business, it would have been like Mrs. Thompson, and, you know, anyone that had, like, it did give people status. We did think, oh my God, imagine having their life, because their houses always look beautiful, like, you know, no one had money, so for anyone who you thought always had money, you did look up to them, you know. So I wonder what that did for you, like, what
it's like, I never really felt any of it, like, because I was brought up in it, so
it was just so normal, as we talk about.
Like, it's like, I remember my dad coming back with the first widescreen TV. Like, you had to take it out of the box. It was that big to get it into the back of the car. Like, and I remember, like, my mate saying, "Jesus Christ, the fucking size of that thing and all." But like, even having computers in the house, you know what I mean? With computers,
nobody had that back then.
Like, and internet as soon as it came out. Like, and again, it was normal to me. Like, I remember saying to my mates,
Was your friends all from Marino?
Yeah, they're all from Marino.
But were they similar?
No, like one of my friends that had a building company. They lived a couple of doors down, and another friend is that had an alarms company, but that would have been a little bit later on. But like I remember my ma would be always talking about health insurance and this has to be paid and that has to be paid, and I thought nothing of it. And I remember being over at my mate's house one day, and his ma was saying something about going to the doctor or something to him, and I was like, God, you not have health insurance?
Oh, so that went down like a lead balloon.
I don't have money for home insurance or for health insurance. And I was like, that's like,
medical cards. We all had.
You know?
I don't know one person who hadn't got a medical card when I was growing up. We just assumed it was like...
It was just the way it was, like, yeah.
That's what... I thought everybody had medical cards. I wouldn't have known anything about health insurance, Kevin, not a clue.
Like, I don't have it now myself. I can't afford to have it now myself, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that don't,
you and me both.
Yeah, but, so I suppose there was little things like that would have, like, little light bulb in me and said, like, oh, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
Maybe there is something.
Different here.
Yeah, something different here, like, you know, and but like it was weird, like I like you get a bit of slagging in the Strand because you were the owner's son and stuff like that, like, you know what I mean, and boy, I fucking loved walking down there, like I loved it, like my dad always said to me, like, the people who we are down there serving drinks to and all, like they're the salt of the earth people, like they're decent people, like, you know, and but then I seen an awful lot of shit in the Strand house as well, like that.
I was going to say, Kevin, like, because I know all that, and I know, you know, as Debbie O'Toole said on her, Sheriff Street was great, but then it also wasn't great. Yeah. There are two sides, salt of the earth people, but then everything that comes with the lives that we live. Yeah, you know.
Like
so
it's like,
what would it have been for?
Like I remember. You weren't allowed to wear ties. If you wore a tie, you had to be a clip-on, because if you had a tie, it was an option for someone to pull you towards them.
I never thought about that.
Bar, there was always mirrors behind the bar, so when you had your back turned, you could still see what was going on.
I would have never known that.
I wouldn't, like, again, this is like, but you do see that in a lot of pubs.
Yeah, but
so
that's
not just.
But there's a reason for
the mirrors, like, so and like 9 times out of 10 you have your back turned to something.
Of course.
There, so, but I would have seen lads getting bottled. Like, there was an incident one night where a lad got half his ear bitten off. I was in an armed robbery when we got held up down there. My brother had a shotgun to the back of his head, and I was down in the cellar at the time. This was like, I started at 13, so I started at 13 collecting glasses, giving orders, a lounge boy, you know, cleaning the ashtray.
Oh, I remember that.
The smell of the bucket and all, like, and even I remember going down on like Good Friday when the pubs used to close. We had to go down and we had to clean the place, and you'd be cleaning like the wood above the bar. And the yellow water be running down, and like thinking back now that I was put into work in that environment.
I do remember because of the smoke and your eyes would be watered in the pub at the end of the night.
Coming home, like, and they'd be stinking of smoke, like, you know.
I remember.
That's just the way things were back then, you know.
It was the norm.
It was the norm. Times were different and stuff, like, but at 15 then I went in behind the bar, like, and that was like another level then again, and like that gave me access then. Gave me access to drink. It gave me access to cigarettes, and it also gave me access to money. You know, and this is, I've never spoken about this with my family, like, you know, and but I would have been dipping the tails, like, not a lot, you know, but I would have dipped in the tails, and again, that was that addict mentality that I had that I didn't know about, but I was like, I think I done it once, maybe £20 or something like that. And I was like, I had to get away with that. Yeah. And that was at the cop.
That what happens, Kevin,
you know, and like, I can remember, like, depending on who I was doing an afternoon shift with, would depend on, you know, what I brought back to home with me at the end of the shift.
No.
Like,
because I remember Martin was one of the...
it was Martin, Eddie, Jim. Yeah, they were the three sort of...
They were all the constants there.
They were always there, so Jim would have been the manager.
But you know what, Kevin, I'm just thinking, just to say this out loud, like, if I'd have been 15 and working this since I was 13, like, I know it's the wrong thing to do, but I can't imagine not if I needed and was going out with my mates taking and like that addict head. I'm not making excuses for it, but it must be very difficult not to.
Like it's like I was there. I'd been working there for 2 or 3 years at this stage. Then like so, you know the routine of everything. You know what I mean? Like
And you're watching
watching
every
everything
detail.
because I had that mentality. Like you know, like I remember, like I'd go down to the like say the lads. I used to do a split shift, so I think it used to be say 4 to 7 during the week, and then on a Friday I do 4 to 7, go home, and come back at 9 to close.
Okay.
So if I was working with Jim, like Jim was an absolute gent. We only had a little meal from my dad there when he retired out in Keely's, and we invited Jim. Like, and he still looks. He's 88
was
years.
Jim the grey-haired man? I remember him. Yeah,
20 years ago, I think, and he's 88, and he still looks exactly the same as he done. You know, and I was chatting to him there, and he's a really nice bloke. Same with Eddie and Martin. Martin actually worked with me now, like.
Does he? Because he worked in the hotel in Skerries, which is too. Yeah.
Eddie didn't come out to the hotel. Eddie ended up getting a bar job in Tim Young's in Ballyferma, where he's from. But like Eddie used to cycle to the Strand to Ballyferma.
Yeah.
Like it was just mad, like, you know, it was. And but yeah, so like if I was working with Jim, excuse me, I'd know like that Jim probably wouldn't be as wise. He's a bit older, like, so I'd sneak down and I'd have a shoulder and me sock. And come back up, and I could have 40 smokes in my pockets then as well. Like, and so that was me access to drink, like, you know, and cigarettes and alcohol, and then being able to, because I worked in the off license as well, I was attached to the pub, but it was just a doorway through.
I remember it. Yeah.
That's where I was able to do my little scheme, and you know, me scheming and stuff like that. And you know, I don't know if I have a touch of autism or ADHD or something. There's definitely something with me. I've never gotten tested for that, but 100% there's something there with me. But I've always really been good at doing maths in my head.
Okay.
So if someone came in and they were getting like 6 cans of Dutch and a flagon was a £5. So that was easy for me to not ring through and take the £5. So it was, you know, and I'd be totting stuff up in my head, and they would say, right, at the end of the shift I'm owed 40 or I'm owed 50.
Because you weren't at that putting it through.
Because they didn't put it through, I didn't scan it, but I still took the money off them, you know?
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, you figure out the camera is there and it's pointing that way, and there's a little blind spot in the corner. So, you know, we used to have a drop safe, so every now and then you'd have to take the cash out and put it in a little plastic canister. So I'd always take it out, turn me back to the counter, but I'd be in that blind spot, and you'd have to just slip to
whatever you were at, or totting up in your head.
Yeah. And like, it's mad to think now, like, that I done that, but I never thought that of it. And that's the mad thing about it, like, that I don't understand that. Like, I never felt guilty for doing it. I never felt like I knew I was doing something wrong, but it never really bothered me, like, you know, and I think it's because I seen the money that we used to go through the place, and
you minimise it. You minimise it in your head, Kevin. You keep justifying it. And like, even when you were explaining all the angles and your thought processes, adding up the numbers, where's the camera, turning around, the amount of effort that goes into that scheming, like, it's exhausting, because I'm thinking of like things that I would do to hide a drink or to get a drink into me ma's, and you know, when I was at that level. And when you think about the level of planning and, you know, all the stuff that goes with that, like how hard you have to work mentally to do all that.
Yeah, mad. Like,
it's exhausting.
Yeah. Like, one of the things that I used to love was when I went down, when you went down to the cellar, there was like a spirit room, a cigarette container, and the spirits were all laid out, like, so I'd be like, what will I try this week, you know? And so you'd be taking Malibu, vodka, Bacardi, rum, and they were all sort of, the shoulders were rectangular sort of shape, like, you know, the shape of a lagan, like, most of the shoulders were like a bigger lagan, but the Tia Maria and the Baileys was like, had a big round base. And I remember taking a shoulder of Tia Maria one day, and I had the neck stuck in me sock. And I had me I don't know how I got away with it. Like how maybe the lads did see me and they didn't say it.
Think they left you. Yeah.
But like at that stage in my life, 15, 16, like I was already drinking. So
how old were you when you started, Kevin?
I was about 13, I think. I was 13 when I had my first taste of hash.
Yeah.
It was. And I remember like you'd hear all the horror stories of drugs and and what they do to and people's heart exploding from taking a knee and I remember being nervous about taking my first drag off a joint, but at the same time I didn't want to look like I was bottling doing it. So
nobody wants to be a bottler, do you, Kevin, around their mates?
I fucking there after doing it, so I have
to do it.
So. Yeah. And that was down in Wexford where we had a mobile home just outside of Cartown in the summer, and that's where I probably would have started off doing a lot of me stuff because unlike Sheriff Street, I didn't have a massive amount of freedom.
The playground of that type of stuff.
I didn't have that, like, and so from an early age, like, Wexford was my sort of go-to place for experimenting, like, and
that was your playground where you could have your fun down there, the freedom and
ultimate freedom down there. Like, my ma, we went down for probably 2 months in the summer. My ma stayed with us like all the time, and then my dad came down on a Friday. I can remember sitting on the wall out the front waiting for him. Like, there was no phones ratting, so like my ma when he was leaving.
And you'd know the distance, the time.
That he was going to be there, or he would have told me, ma, the night before, like, I'd be leaving at 5, I'd be down at 7 or whatever. So I'd be up waiting for him to bring down my bike or something like that, or but that was like, so being down there with only my ma, like, you were able to do whatever you
were pulling the wool out over her eyes.
Me being the baby, I probably, as I said before, got away with a lot more than Gary and Elaine would have. And the drinking would have started down there as well. Like, I remember, like, I never liked the taste of beer. Like, I still
lots of people really say that,
so I used to drink the alcohol pops, and like I never even liked it. Like, I didn't, but everyone else was doing it, so I done it. You know what I mean? It's like that wanting to fit in, not wanting to be different. Not wanting to be called out for being a bottler or being a chicken chef or not drinking. So I done it down there to fit in, and then I remember, like, the first time I tried hash, and I came home then from Wexford, and 2 of my mates had gone down to Cork, and they were after trying it with my mate's older brother. So we were like, right, this is like, well, how are we gonna get this now? You know what I mean? So we used to pool in the money. Dave was talking about it as well.
Yeah.
You pool in the money to try and get a 5 spot or a 10 spot.
We all did that. Yeah, we all,
Soap bar, I think it was at the time. Lots of plastic and stuff in it, and like, that's where me drug taking and me alcohol. Alcohol is a drug as well, but that's where it started from.
In Wexford. So that was about 15, 16, wasn't it?
No, 13. 13, yeah. And like, you wouldn't have been able to do it all the time at that age. Like, it would have been if you managed to get your hands on a bit of gargle or something like that. But I suppose it would have happened at 13 in the summer, and then it would have progressed on from that. So by 14 next summer, I would have been more prepared going.
Then you were 15, you were walking behind the bar and you had your little system going.
And I had me money and I had me drink and I had the smokes and like even the cigarettes. We robbed cigarettes from, there was a farmhouse beside the mobile site, and we robbed Carroll's. And like, that fucking rotten cigarettes, like, that really strong.
You don't care when you're that age, so it's just,
it was the fucking bee's knees and coming out rubbing your hands in the grass and all, so your ma wouldn't smell that, eating toothpaste and all, so they wouldn't smell it off you. But like, my ma and dad would have been very, very naive around drugs and stuff like that. Like, although my dad was from the inner city, like, he was gone from an early age, like,
he didn't get the full sort of...
like, there would have been drugs, I'm sure, on the go in the flats, like, but my dad was, like, really work orientated, like, from a very early age. I think he
wanted to do the right thing, and then he didn't have a criminal background like his father, and wasn't involved in crime.
My granddad worked for the CIA, and then he sold clothes on the hill.
My nana used to do the same. I used to sell them when I was a kid as well, when I lived in Champions Avenue. That's mad that you bring that up.
So my dad used to have to go like to the clothing factories and stuff with her to help pick out clothes and stuff like that. Used to get them cheap. I don't know exactly how it worked,
Yeah.
but
So there was a work ethic there.
there was always
There
a
was
work
work
ethic there. Like I think my
yeah.
dad started his apprenticeship at 13. I think he forged paperwork from the school
So
or
we
something
could
like that,
get
so
it.
he could go and do his
Yeah.
apprenticeship. Like he'd be telling me stories about when he used to cycle around with his tools in a bag to do jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like me and my dad were so fucking alike. Like, and I used to hate this as a child, you know, like I really used to hate it. Like everyone used to say, yeah, you and your dad, so like I would say, I'm not fucking like him. But like my dad, we'd be driving around Dublin, my dad like, see that porch over there, I built that. I see that porch there, and I do the same thing to my kids and my partners, you know. So like I am like me, like even me partner Grace, she only said it to me there the other night. She's like, you know, you're every bar your dad, like, you know, because I would take the piss out of her. My dad's always taking the piss out of me mom.
Yeah, he's had the most to life.
Yeah, like he only dropped me mad. He got her gallbladder out yesterday, and he dropped her to the hospital. He came up to me then, because she was in the Hermitage and I'm in Lucan. And he came up to me, he's like, I put a little label on your ma there just to make sure that they give me the right one back. You know, there's always been that. But then there's always been, like, now, like, there's all, I don't know how to put this now, like, but, like, there's always been that bit of slagging with me dad, with me ma, that I think is down to how me dad, it's like that projection thing you're talking about, how me dad might have been feeling, me dad not wanting to be the butt of the joke, maybe. And I would be like that as well, you know, put it out there before it comes to you.
You say it before someone else. I get that though. Yeah. I do get that. That's probably stuff that I would do as well if I thought people was going to, you know, take the piss out of me from. And usually it's stupid things like where you're from or the way you say things, or so I'd get in there before they did to say, I already know that. I already know that. So you'd make light of it and stuff. But it does have an effect, Kev.
Like definitely, like, you know, but like, yeah, I'm very, very like me dad in a lot of ways, you know.
So you started young, and you started young with hash and alcohol, like most of us. And how long was it normal for, if ever? Or like when I think back at Lounge Girl, just when you were talking about doing that, I was only working in Humphreys. But you know, when people, this is going to sound gross, but I'm going to say it anyway because it'll show you that there was issues there before I ever thought there was issues with alcohol. So when I was collecting glasses off some of the people in Humphreys, and vodka and lime, never heard of it. I liked the colour because it was like, so I used to drink it. And then if anyone left it, I was again, gross, I know, but I would drink, like, and I never thought there was a problem with that. It was only when I ended up in treatment centres, I was like, I was drinking alcohol as a lounge girl, picking up and drinking. No, I did, but the signs were there, you know, when you look back, Kevin. So when did it stop being normal? Like,
I successfully used drugs for a long time.
Like, what ended up being your drugs of choice, like when you progressed?
My main drug of choice ended up being coke. That's the drug that brought me to my knees. That's the drug that made me do things that I thought I'd never do. But that came later in life. Like that really came later in life. Like, you know, like, and for years it was just the hash and the weed and the drink.
So that's what you would have been plodding along with.
Yeah, like
how old, Kevin? Like, how many years is that going on for?
I started smoking at 13 and I stopped at 35 in treatment. Tried many times, and I honestly think weed was the hardest drug for me to give up. It was because everything I did with my friends was revolved around having a joint. You went to the cinema, you had a joint. We went out to pubs. We went to pubs where we knew we could have joints. Everything revolved around.
And it's sort of, I don't know whether I just make this up in my head, but I don't think I do. I think weed has taken over alcohol with the youths. I rarely hear, like, yeah, my youngest son will go for a drink and he goes out and he loves his gigs and his festivals, but I hear more talk about weed now. And then years ago when I was younger, I was go to the pub, get a few drinks, but I definitely think it's changed.
I think it's the accessibility of it now, you know. I think it's it's gotten so hard to get drink from a young age now. I think it's much easier to get weed. You know,
well, there's no laws. It's anyone that's selling you a bag of weed is not asking for ID.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
You know, and like to go into a shop now and try and get like I
remember years ago, anyone would get it for you. Any adults would say, "Will you get us a nagging? Will you get us?" And they do it. Whereas if some young person stopped me now, absolutely not a chance am I buying you a drink.
I wouldn't either, you know.
But anyone where we were from, outside the Strand House, should be standing. Will you win the off license for us? And
it was no one batted an eyelid to it again. But I think the culture of drinking in Ireland has a lot to say about that as well. You know what I mean? Because like for years, drinking was never considered anything bad. Like, you know, and I think it's probably still not. But I think a lot more has come out in recent years.
We're seeing the problem. Like, I mean, by me talking, by you talking, everybody else on this, it was nearly the first thing we did to numb, to escape, to step out of our reality, to stop feeling how we were feeling. And it does wonders. And for some kids, that might be a joint. It never agreed with me. I'm sure if hash I would have been I'd ran with hash. Where I used to go the opposite, it made me full of anxiety and I didn't feel right, and so I didn't. But the drink, like even when I talk about it still now, Kevin, I can still feel what it did for me. The first one, my second one, you know, everything was okay.
Yeah.
Until it really wasn't okay from it anymore. But tell us a little bit about how it progressed for you and how you ended up in treatment from it.
Yeah, so I said for years it was just drinking and smoking, and then it was giving me first D. I remember taking me first D, and like I fucking, like, don't get me wrong, I loved doing drugs. Like I did love doing drugs. I loved how they made me feel. And I remember when I done my first D, just everything that I felt about myself just melted away. It was gone. Like I just had this love. Yeah, you know, they call it love drug.
He was talking about you on it, Davey. He arrived. He absolutely arrived.
And I was the same, and it's gas because I was trying to listen. I listened to a bit of Davey the other day, and I listened to a bit of it on the way out as well. And he was only at that part when I was trying.
Was he? Yeah.
I was like, Jesus Christ! Like what a way to explain it, because that I arrived at, like, this is who I can be. I can actually be this person.
It took away all the heaviness and the self-worth, all that you thought about yourself, being heavy growing up, and it just made everything okay. Who doesn't want more of that?
Exactly.
Who doesn't want more of that, Kevin?
It was like, and so I felt like, you know, everybody loved me. I loved everyone else. All me woes just went away. Like I had this confidence that I'd never had before in my life. And I remember saying to myself, like, fucking hell, like, I've been missing out. Like, I've really been missing out. So, any opportunity after that, no, that would have been, I'd say, mid-20s, I'd say, when I started doing it.
Had you become a father?
I hadn't, yeah.
Okay.
I was 20. Let me think now. I'm going to get this wrong. I think I was 29. No, I was 30 when Aria was born.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I think with me and Ciara, like, I got into a relationship with Ciara at an early age. Like, I was 16.
Were you that young when you met Ciara? Okay.
I was with Ciara for 19 years. Like, and
that's such a long time, isn't it? Because you're still so young. That's why it feels like such a long time.
49 on Tuesday.
A happy birthday on Tuesday.
But like, so it was a long time with Ciara, like, and where was I going with this?
We were talking. I said, "Were you a dad?" But you were talking about taking your first ecstasy and how you felt.
That was like, Ciara was always anti-drugs, like, and I always found that very strange coming from where she came from. So it's like, I'm like, they're so readily available, and just like so many of your family members
were
were
addicts
addicts or
and
were
suffering,
involved with drugs or something, like, you know.
selling drugs, taking
Yeah,
drugs.
like
Yeah.
I always knew Bonzo sold hash. You know what I mean?
Who didn't? I
It was just a
mean,
thing. Like,
the dogs on the street would have known that. And it was fine. Like to all of us,
it was the
it
norm.
was
Like,
very normal. And hash was nothing. That's what we'd say.
yeah.
Hash wasn't a big deal.
I remember
That was the mentality.
I remember doing, after I started my apprenticeship, doing a job from down in the house, like, and he paid me all in 20s. The 20 spots were coming out, like, you know.
All the scores.
Yeah. But so yeah, and when I started going out with Kira as well, I suppose, if you like coming from Marino, it was a sort of a sheltered upbringing. You know, you didn't. I seen a lot of stuff in the Strand house, like
yeah, that opened up a door to something other than what you were used to.
Exactly. Like, and, like, I used to buy rock clothes in the Strand. Like, there were certain people you could put orders in for football jerseys. No, it was the
come
norm.
in the pub then, yeah.
They'd come in. I'll be back up to Tuesday, and I'll have it for you. You know, and I think I bought clothes off Davey before as well.
Probably did.
He used to get them off everyone, you know what I mean? It was the norm. Like, that was just a thing. Like,
it was
you know?
part of our way of living.
Yeah.
It really was. Yeah.
Like, Christine spoke about it as well, you know?
So I did it. You know, it was what we did at a certain age. You just went up.
I remember Gary started going out with Christine, like, you know, and coming, Gary would be really straight laced, like, you know, very straight, like, smoke. I think he might have tried hash.
Yeah.
Didn't
like it.
But never drank really.
No.
Never smoked, like, you know, he was always had that sense.
So his siblings go, he was, compared to the way you were, he was completely straight. Like, yeah.
And I think that's probably what made me feel like a black sheep as well. Like, that I enjoyed getting into trouble. I enjoyed, like, bending the rules and doing everything that I was told I shouldn't be doing, like, where he didn't, like, you know.
It's the opposite way around with me. Like, I was the one that was always in trouble and did it. And my brother and sister are never in trouble, never taken drugs. And people are shocked when they say, like you said about Cara there, when she didn't agree with hash, and you were like, what do you mean? You're from Sheriff Street. All your family members sell it and take it. When they tell people they don't do drugs, nor have they tried them, people don't believe them because of where they come from. And then it wouldn't help that I'm their older sister. But they really... And
it's stigma though, isn't it? Like
that. That is stigma. And people don't believe them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I genuinely, sure, why the fuck would we lie? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's a strange one.
Yeah, but I remember Christine getting Gary an Arsenal jersey. Gary, the first thing Gary says, are you had a stroke on that?
She probably did.
She actually didn't. She actually went up and bought it, yeah. And I think now and that
had to be in the fourth,
like, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like it's I suppose growing up in I grew up in the Strand house, really, like, you know, and the Strand house, like, it was great because it taught me how to deal with people. It taught me how to talk to people, you know, how to de-escalate a situation just from watching the lads doing it. But it also
exposed you to different type of people, didn't it?
Yeah. But it also taught me like a little bit about criminality and other stuff like that. And then, you know, when I started going out with Kira, then, you know, there would have been crime in the family, you know, and that's just the way it was, and it was never anything sort of just it is what it is. Like Jared would have been heavily involved and stuff, and
well, his death must have been a massive, like, for I know, for Gary, and look, you understand the siblings, you know, they're massively affected, but it affects everybody. If you're with the sibling, married and in a relationship, and there's nothing normal about it, Kevin. You know, I know people say that's their way of life and they're involved in it, but when something like that happens to a family, it really...
It's
devastating. And it changes the shape of everyone's relationship and
the narrative, like, of even just a household. Like, you know,
because isn't it always all right until the worst thing happens?
And like, you never think it's going to happen.
No, because it won't happen to me. It won't happen to us.
And I remember Jared even saying stuff like that, like, you know, like, that wouldn't be made. Like, you know,
I hear it all the time. I've had conversations with dear people to me heart, and I said, I know you think you're different. I know you think it's not going to happen to you. But if it doesn't happen to you, you'd be the only person I know that it doesn't happen to, because it happens to everyone. It ends in 3 ways, Kevin. You abscond, you go to prison, or you die. And there's not one person in my 43 years that I have grown up with who I have loved and who I have shared relationships with, whether it was, you know, a daughter or a wife, or that's still here that I can have this conversation with, because they're all dead. So when I'm trying to explain this to a younger person, I'm like, you are not different to all these people who have gone before you. Can you not look back and learn from them? You know, it causes devastation. How do we stop it? Maybe talking about it. Maybe you changing you. And that has a knock-on effect.
100%.
Sorry, I go down the rabbit hole with that one. Sorry, yeah, Kevin.
No, but like, so yeah, so that, like, I remember going down to the house one day after a shift and being ushered up the stairs, like, you know, and not thinking nothing of it, like, and but then to be told later on, like, that there was stuff downstairs that they didn't want me to see because I was only just going out with Kira at the time, and the trust wasn't there, you know what I mean? Like, and like, we don't know him, you know what I mean? Like, he's not one of us, you know. So
and that's the sentence that's used. He's not one of us.
Yeah, definitely. And then I remember that, like, so that would have been probably October. Started going out with Kira June or July. That would have been October. And then December, Christmas came around, and she handed me a box for Christmas, like, and a long box. What the fuck is this? And I opened it up, and it's a 2.5 ounce, 18 karat gold bracelet. It's like, okay, look, what? Like, I'm only going out. She'll look at you a plain guy t-shirt or something, like, you know. And she said, it's grand, like, you know. It's,
fell off the back of a lorry.
Yeah, and I was like, so then I was like, jeez, like what other doors is this going to open up? Like, and thankfully, like, I never got involved in
the criminal aspect
of it, like, you know, and you know, Jared would have been involved in loads of different stuff, and like, I would have seen stuff, you know, he would have shown me stuff, and part of me sometimes wondered, like, was he with me and Gary? Because with me and Gary, I think we were different to other people that Jared knew, like.
Well, you came from different backgrounds, and that makes you different. You have a slightly different accent, you wear different clothes, there's a different way you walk. So you are different.
I think the biggest thing was that we never looked for anything off him. You know, where I think he was surrounded by people who
everybody wants something or needs something in that world.
He respected us.
Well, you just,
like, you know,
you are just Christian's partner, and you are just Kara's partner, and you are there to talk and be okay, but he wouldn't have been used to that. You know, you mean you don't want something off me?
And I think because of that, we saw the same side to him that the girls saw, you know.
We saw that human side.
This human side,
You take away all the labels, criminal, this, that, and there's a human in there.
Yeah, and I think, like what killed me, I remember I was an apprentice at the time, and Jared was killed, and I remember going into work. It was I took a few days off, and I got to work maybe a week later or something like that, and I remember one of my bosses saying to me, like, actually, he was only a fucking scumbag, like, he got what he deserved, and I wanted to fucking kill him, like, I wanted to pull him over the counter and fucking murder him, because, like, how dare you, like, you know, that's not the person that I knew, you know what I mean? But that's the perception that was perceived by others when you read in the newspapers. And look, like, yeah, that went on. Like, you know, there was a certain element of that, but that's not the person I knew, you know what I mean? And that's what was hard to hear. Like, it was hard.
So now you know what it's like for people who grow up in these environments and are called scumbags, wasters, junkies, you know, all these horrible names. And I always say, but it's a brother, it's a son, it's a father, and that's one part of who that person is. That's not who the whole it's like, Kevin, if I was to sit here with you and say, you're only an addict and an alcoholic, I take away the part where you're a great father, or you're a great partner, or you're great with your hands and you're a worker, and all the other lovely things. Being an alcoholic and addict is one part. And it's very explainable, which are explaining. Do you know what I mean?
And, like, even at that, what you're saying there, like it took a long time. I'd be 3.5, I'm nearly 3.5 years clean now. And it took a long time for me to realise that was just one part of me, and that I was worth getting recovery, and I was worked because I remember Laura down in Asheray, the first thing she
First
said,
person you see when you walk through the doors.
like, what a woman, like, you know, like,
She's a beautiful soul, isn't she?
like, she's, I don't know, like, it's hard to explain her, like, it really is, but
It is unless you experience it.
yeah, 100%, like, you know, when you're in that place where you're of desperation and worthlessness, to have someone put their arms around you and say, you're worth this, you are worth getting this, like, you know, you are not that person.
Because when you're really at a point walking in doors where you don't believe anything nice about yourself anymore, it's
at that stage I was after coming like a week before that I had a rope around my neck.
Tell us a little bit, Kevin, about how did it get bad for you? So tell us just about how you ended up in Asheray. Like, what were the events that led to Asheray, and where was the drinking and the drug taking at?
Yeah, so like as I said, the E came on later on in life. Jared passed. And there's one thing actually I just want to mention, because this is something that's always really sort of bugged me, like that the night that Jared passed, and this still eats away at me, like, you know. I remember getting the call. We were living in Skerries at the time, like, and in the car, rushed into town, like, and I remember ringing Ciara and telling Ciara over the phone that her brother was dead, like, and that's, I've never forgiven myself for that. Like, I've really struggled to forgive myself. How could you tell someone over the phone? But it was that panic that everybody was in, like, you know.
You're not thinking.
I didn't know. I was only 19. Like, I was a kid, you know what I mean?
And were you told how he had been killed?
I was told.
I
was told on the phone I was told what had happened, and then I got another phone call to say that he was gone, like, you know. And my first thought was like, I have to tell Ciara, like, she needs to know this, but not thinking of it, that's not the way to do it, like, you know.
Just so we know, because I know the listeners listen to Christian, but we're saying that he died that night. Jared was actually shot.
Yeah.
Just so the listeners know what happened.
And even just the way it happened was horrific, like, you know, and so close to home and everything else and stuff. But yeah, that's like, I'm still working on myself around that small little thing, like, because it's, I don't know, just it's always fucking sat with me, like, you know. But yeah, look, back to the question you were asking, like, Jared's death, there was, I don't know, there was talk of a transaction of drugs for doing it or whatever like that. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but, you know, you hear things and stuff like that, and, you know, me thinking I had principles, I wouldn't touch coke, because coke,
where it leads to death and
stuff like that, or, you know. So I hid the E from Ciara for years. The bath salts, I remember when they came out with the head shops.
The head shop stuff, I do, yeah.
Like,
I don't have much experience with it, but I do remember it.
Rally and stuff, like, and, you know. And
so cheap, wasn't it?
Was
yeah.
I remember going down to Ciara after being out the night before, and you'd smell it coming out of your pores. It was horrible, and the come down off it. It was horrendous. So I would have spent a lot of time going out with the lads. I think at that stage, me and Ciara had moved home. We'd been out renting, and we both moved home to save for a house.
Okay.
So again, like, this was like, I was after giving the fucking key to the city here now, you know. So I'd go out on a Friday and a Saturday with the lads, and then spend Sunday with Ciara.
Yeah.
I'd be comatose.
Like, by Sunday you are no good to anyone, Kevin.
I wouldn't be there. It'd be fun. Like, I'd say to her, if I'm going to watch a movie, and I'd just fall asleep.
Yeah.
You know, and that was like, I don't know how I got away with it. Maybe it was the manipulation, you know, that comes with addiction. Like, I got fairly, like, how I got good at doing other stuff. I got good at hiding this.
Yeah. You don't even see it, and then you realise when you're well, you look back and say, that was manipulation. I was manipulating these people. 100%. It's hard to say, because manipulation is such a horrible word, and it's knowingly doing something to somebody. So it's hard to admit, Kevin, but we all do it as adults. We do.
Like, you know, like, I think for me, manipulation was was getting someone to do something that they didn't really want to do that would have a massive effect on them or something like that. Like that's what I would have considered to be manipulation. But
No.
like it works in such small little things, like
Subtlety.
something you say,
Yeah.
you know,
Like,
a
let's watch a
gesture.
movie together. She's thinking, we're going to watch it over. You just want to go to sleep, and then she's quiet watching that film.
Yeah, and it takes the eye off me.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it was. Like,
Yeah.
so you know, there was a good few years where that was me drug of choice. You know, was the E and the head shop stuff. And Kerry has always asked me the question, like, when did you first do cocaine? Like, I don't actually know the answer to it, and I don't think Kira fully believes me when I say that to her. But I genuinely don't know when I first did it. The only thing that I can think of is that I was at a house one night at a party, an after party after being in town, because through all the associations of people that you make you think are your friends when you're out using, we ended up in houses all over Dublin.
Yes.
Till all hours of the morning.
That was the norm.
That was the norm.
After any gig,
you know?
I was the same.
And I think it was a case where everything else was gone and someone offered me it and I just did it, you know, not necessarily knowing what it was. And again, I got that, Dave, you said it as well, that euphoric feeling of, okay, this is
like
different.
this.
Yeah,
I like how I'm feeling right now.
Getting slightly different feelings from what I got the first time I took E. But yeah, this could be for me, like, you know. So, I know with the smoking weed and stuff like that, Kira didn't want me smoking weed when we had kids, you know, and you know, it's just fully understandable.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
she want me looking after a baby off my head, like, and so I knocked the weed on the head, but it was really hard, like, rubbing it. And I said it to you there, like, earlier about, like, for me, weed was probably one of the hardest drugs to come off. Because it was so entwined in my life for such a long time, like, you know. So I get off it for a little while, and then I'd stop into a mate's on the way home from work, and, you know, I'd be putting the eye drops in my eyes, coming home thinking that she wouldn't know, but she knew me. My voice was slowed, like, it was very... We know. We do. As mothers, as partners, we know. Like, I'm after being with the girl at this stage probably for 15 years. Like, she probably knew more about me than I knew about myself, like, you know. Yeah. To a certain extent. So we had moved, we bought a house in Cabra, and we had the 2 kids there, and then we decided then we'd move out to where Gary and Christine were, which is not too far from here, where we are. And the weed was still a big issue, like, you know. The drinking was grand, like come home from work, have bottles every day of the week. But you don't, I find most weed smokers don't really drink alcohol. And if you really drink alcohol, you don't like weed. Yeah, like, you never find the two of them is really mixed too much, Kevin. With me, it didn't really, like, I'd happily have a joint with a cup of tea. Or beer wouldn't, yeah. But then when I come home from work, like, I'd look forward to having a bottle, you know, and then there'd be a couple of bottles or whatever. Like, and it was never, alcohol was never really a big thing for me. Yeah. Like, I enjoyed a drink, but it was never really a big thing. And I remember the coke had come in then, and it got to a stage where, like, I didn't want, like, the lads had ring me, said, you want to go out? And I'm like, right, I need to see if I can get a bag before I go out, or I'm not going out. Or who's going out? Can I get a bag while I'm out? You know, so it got to a point where I didn't want to go out unless I could get something, you know. It just didn't bother me. Like, I'm not really fussed on going out unless I can get out of my head. Like, yeah, it wasn't about the going out anymore. It was about the using the drugs. Exactly. Like, that's when you know, isn't it, Kevin? That's where it started. That's like, that's where I was sort of like, what, like, I'd sit on my own in the room if I have the bag of coke and put on a film or listen to music. I don't really care about the socialising. No, exactly. Yeah. Like, and I wouldn't have been socialising if I was out on the bag anyway, because I'd have been in and out to the jacks constantly. Like, you know, talking shite to someone. Off myself, like, you know. Like, I used to say to Keir, like, oh, McGregor has a fight coming up. Like, do you want to go down and stay down Mars and have the lads up? Yeah. Again, it was just all manipulation, isn't it? An excuse to use, like, and like, this is hard for me to say. This is, like, but I remember when both of my kids were born, like, I never cried when my kids were born, and they always felt like what's wrong with you? Like, why aren't you crying? Like you're after bringing a child into the world, like, and but Kira was in the hospital for a couple of days, and I was trying to get out of there so I could catch the dealer before he fucking wrapped up and turned his phone off that night. And that's hard to think about now, that I cared more about going and getting coke than I did about the welfare of my partner or my new child. Like, and then I'd spend the night on the bag celebrating, you know what I mean? Now, I didn't need any reason to use drugs, but any reason, I could always get a reason to use, you know, happy, sad, fucking celebrating, whatever, it didn't matter, you know, drugs came into the situation. But I'd spend the night on the bag and then I'd go up to the hospital the next day. I fall asleep in the chair.
But do you understand it now? See the way you say that, because we're all guilty of those type of, the desire and the power of addiction, desire to use, the power of the pull. Imagine something in a little bag or in a bottle, this clear liquid or white powder, has that much power over you that it overrides the birth of your child.
Massive.
Like, that's not normal. But can you understand how much you are in addiction for you to be not thinking about this new human being you brought into the world, and you were thinking about, like, catch me deal? That doesn't make you a bad person or a selfish person. That's the addiction.
That's where it was at that. Like,
yeah.
I knew nothing about addiction. Like, to me, like, and again, working in the Strand house, I would have seen a lot of addiction. You know,
so I would have seen normal to you.
Yeah, it was like.
It's not really a bad thing, is it? Sure, everyone is doing it. Everyone is doing it.
Like, to me, an addict was someone who was putting a needle in their arm.
Yeah, the alcoholic on the custom house steps with the brown paper bag, dishevelled looking and dirty, and yeah.
You hear that's like I've heard that shared so many times in meetings, like, you know, in the fellowship that I go to. So, like, I was only doing a bit of coke. Like, what's
the big deal here? Not looking at all the behaviours attached to the person you were becoming, Kevin, where you were treating people.
Yeah, I treated Kira horrible for years, you know, unbeknownst to myself, because
sure, it was her fault.
Yeah.
No, but that's what we say. I blamed, like, I mean, my sister was a CUNT. Girl done nothing but loved me and idolised me, but I was able to turn that around in my head and say, she's horrible. Yeah. Like, not true, Kevin.
I would have done exactly the same with Kira, like, you know. You know, if I hadn't had that row with you, I wouldn't have went out to use.
And so it's your fault.
It's your fault, you know, and that wasn't only projected onto Kira, that was projected onto me dad, onto me ma, onto anybody.
Blame them all.
Everybody but myself, you know. And that's the addict mentality, like, you know. But I knew nothing about addiction. I didn't know that this is what I was doing, you know. I just thought I was just a nice lad. I was a nice fella, you know.
It's so funny sitting here talking to you now, because I remember obviously talking to you very early. Like, I mean, you're only coming off the substances, you know, at that time. And it's like something with a different person now, because you were still giving people loads. Like, you were still saying it was your fault. And I was looking, and because I was about 6 months ahead of you, like, treatment-wise. But
I remember walking into the aftercare and my eyes just widened. I was like, I'm not going to be able to talk in here. And she's going to go back and fucking say stuff to Christy.
You said it 1 week. Yeah. So I was still in aftercare in National Ray, just to explain. And you were after coming out of treatment, you got put into the same group. And I remember your face. And I remember I just sat, and I was a good bit into it then. And
you would have known, like, what happens in the real stays in the real, but I was only coming into this, and I was like, what the fuck?
And do you not remember what you said? I sort of have a bit of an issue, because I'm a bit worried about if I say something and it goes out of the room. I said, that fucker is talking about me.
Directly.
Indirectly, but I knew it was aimed at me. And I thought, sure, I couldn't, and I wouldn't anyway. Do you know what I mean?
That was me coming into early recovery, still having massive trust issues with people. because of all the lying, all the fucking
You
scheming
thought
shit
everyone
that
was
I
like
did.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and
Mm.
you know, and thankfully, like things have turned around for me, like, you know, and but look, getting back to where we were, like, so we moved out then. We moved out to Gormanson. The weed had become an issue, and I remember one day I got in coke. I got in coke on a Friday or a Thursday to go out with the lads that night, and I was going to my uncle's, I think. I used to regularly go down to my uncle's, and that was my little getaway as well, like, you know. And I remember I was real nervous, like, about, like, no, you can't do any of this, you know, because fucking hell, you go home and she knows that you're after doing this, you're fucked. But then the addict is on my shoulder saying, just do a bump, like, sure, do a bump. You have to test, you have to try it, like, make sure it's decent, you know what I mean? Or you're going to have to ring that cunt telling me you want that money back.
Yes.
So I done a key in the van, driving up the M1, done another key, probably done a half a gram before he went home, and went in the door, sat down, she did dinner there, and like, I'll fucking eat
Not
this.
eating
Like,
that
just,
dinner.
so I think she walked out of the room to fucking deal with one of the kids, and straight out the back over the fence into the horses, the food went. But the one big thing I took from that experience was that she never clicked. Oh, he was after doing something.
You thought it was written all over your face
We thought
because of
she
the way you
knew
were
with the
feeling.
weed, and because, like, I knew inside that I'm over here, like,
That
you
was
know.
like asylum where you were like, I can do this I'm going to the radar.
Yeah, so, and that was the turning point for me, where
I see.
it went from doing it outside of the home and coming home, or getting ridiculed to do it.
And now it was.
I was like, I can do this now.
She
doesn't even know, you know, and like, what a fucking horrible way to think, like, you know what? But again, it's addiction, and this is what addiction did to me. It turned me into a fucking horrible person, you know, like the worry that I put on my family, the relationships that I fractured with my family over it, you know. But that was like, right, that was where to go here now, you know. So then COVID happened, and it was very hard to get out and get at him, you know. Very hard to get out and get at him. But I found my ways, you know. I found my ways, and I started using on my own. And I started dry sniffing. And the house had a separate garage, like, you know, so I'd nip out to the garage. I'm going to go out and work on something. You know, I was making Christmas decorations for the family one year.
I remember Christine telling me something about that.
So I'd be out using
logs and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I'd make candle holders out of
That's
logs.
right. Yeah.
So making little decorations for the trees, and it was all just so that I could go out and use, you know. And then COVID lifted, and then
you were fucked.
I was fucked at that stage, you know, and it all came to it all came to a head the first time. Bank holiday weekend, let me try to get this right now. So 3.5 years clean. It'll be 2022 when I went into treatment.
Yeah.
So 2021, August bank holiday weekend. We had me mad as mobile. I was going down for the weekend, and I was going back to work, and Kira was going to stay down there with the kids. So I think I went and got a quarter of coke. I remember, like, having it in the van. It's like a golf ball, and I was like, it'll be a great weekend, like, you know. Fucking using before he went down there. Drove me kids down. Never spoke about that before. Not publicly, like the shame I felt over even little thing that, like, it's not a little thing, but at the time I thought it was nothing, like, you know. And you know, I've been able to forgive myself for doing shit like that, like. But went down, again, like trying to push Ciara down to Christine's mobile. Sure, I'll watch the kids. You go and have a drink, like, you know.
With your sister
I'm
and
such a
catch up
I'm
and
such a great partner. I'm doing this for you, and I just wanted to sniff, you know. And
yeah.
I think I hit the sky remote. I hit the sky remote. Told her I left it at home, and then on the Saturday I drove back to Dublin, sniffed the whole way up. Was gone for probably 5 hours, you know, to get the sky remote. Came back down, was off my head, like didn't know, didn't realise. And then all I wanted to do was get home on Sunday, or get home on Sunday and finish the coke, like, you know.
Yeah.
By the time I got home on Sunday, there wasn't a lot left, you know. I think I actually went and met the dealer again, and stayed up all night Sunday drinking rum.
How many nights
coke.
was that then? You were after doing Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
I started dipping into it on Thursday, and then Friday. No, sorry, I'm lying. I got it on Friday, and I was sniffing in the bathroom of a house I was working in. Because my dad had left the job, and I was sniffing in the jacks, trying to do work then as well. And then, so that was then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Sunday was just an all-nighter. So I wouldn't have gotten an awful lot of sleep on Friday or the Saturday night. I would have been lying there with my eyes closed. You know, if Ciara had woken up, I was looking like I was asleep, but I wasn't. So maybe an hour or two each night if I got that. I stayed up all night that Sunday. I think it was 6 o'clock Monday morning. Sorry, I might have the days mumbled up here. I think I came home on the Monday, sorry, because it was a bank holiday weekend. Got more coke on the way home, and then woke up on Tuesday morning about 6 o'clock. He didn't wake up, so he was still awake at 6 o'clock that morning. It's like, you have to go to work in an hour. Like, what? Like, now at this stage, I had been like, I was using probably 3 nights a week easily. Like, easily.
It had progressed to that, yeah.
It got to the stage where I was constantly using, and I was constantly working to pay for my habit. That's one thing that I can look back and be thankful for.
You didn't have to.
I didn't have to rob my family. I did take money out of my kids' envelopes that they might have gotten for Christmas. Yeah. But I never robbed from my family.
You didn't have to go directly, as far as,
you know, like I did when I was younger with the pub. Like, but I was working 60 hours a week. I cared off, like, the mortgage was paid, the bills were paid. We never had any extra money, like, for that and extra. And she'd always say to me, where's all the money? And you'd always have an excuse, like, at the tyre went in the car, or someone didn't pay me, or, you know, I lost me bollocks on that job. And, you know, I was, you know yourself, like, you're able to come up with that and, like, the click of the finger.
Bullshit that can fall out of your mouth. There's no end to bullshit.
And you're so convincing. So why wouldn't they believe you? Like,
but she'd have been just so confused. What was she supposed to say? That didn't happen? Or
like, I think it got to a stage with Ciara that she was questioning a lot of stuff herself. You know, that was going on with me. She knew that there was something up.
Of course she did.
But she didn't. She wasn't able to.
Oh, because you were so good at confusing her about what she was thinking it was. And that's what. And then she'd having to take shit out, you know, like the defensive, you know, as you do. Don't question me. I remember saying to my own kids, I have a life too, you know. I'm entitled to go out. I've been running around for years. It wasn't about me going out, Kevin, the same way it would have been for Ciara. It was about, Bray, you're going to come home. Or if you're going to come home, you're going to be drunk. Are you going to be still drunk in the morning? It was all the stuff that came with me going out. It wasn't the going out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's, so Ciara, towards the end, like, Ciara knew that something was going on, but and I would have fucking played on her mental health and all. Like, was like, I would say, you're going fucking mad. Like, are you for real? Like, how dare you ask me these questions? Like, you know, like, why don't you believe me? You know, just like, just nasty, just not a nice person.
It's everything to protect the addiction, so you can continue with it, because the thought to stopping is terrifying.
It's like,
terrifying.
This is my fucking
This is all I have that makes me feel good. That's where you're at. What'll I do without it? How will I function?
Broken man, like, you know, if I don't have this, like. So I ended up then, I was in the gaff on my own, full of gargle on the Tuesday morning. knowing I was supposed to go to work, and just a light bulb went off. At this stage now, I'm a couple of years into the using the heavy sort of using. There's no way out of this for you. You know, there's no way out. Like the best thing you can do now for you and for everyone else is just kill yourself. You know, and I never forget it because it's so fucking clear in my mind. You know, I that's it. The decision was made. You know, I went out to the shed, out to the garage, the rope out in the garage. You know, and being a heavy fella and a carpenter, I knew there was a bit of woodworm in the roof. So I was like, I'm gonna have to strengthen that, or it's not gonna take me away. You know, so I went out to the van, got a drill, a few screws, saw. I remember walking into the garage, and the second I stepped foot in the garage, it's clear as day I heard Aria's voice. My eldest daughter, like clear as day. And she was talking to Kira and said, "Mommy, where's Daddy gone?" And I broke down. I just broke down. I said, "You can't do this. Like, you can't." Like, it was almost like a spiritual awakening. But you know what it was? It was me higher power at work, unbeknownst to myself at that time. It was me higher power at work.
It woke you up for a moment that you needed. It's only a moment, but
split seconds.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, I need to get. I've goosebumps saying this, telling this, like, because it's look like my family listening to this podcast it's going to be hard for them to hear that that's where I was, like, but that's where I was, you know. And this is the reality of addiction, and this is the reality of where it fucking brings you, like, to the outside world. I was a happy, jolly, fucking do anything for anyone fucking type of fella, but on the inside I was fucking dying inside. And I didn't know how to tell anyone. I didn't think anyone would understand. I didn't think there was any help there for me. So I get in the van and I drove, and I went down to the garage on the M1, and I remember ringing Samaritans or something like that, and I was talking to a woman, and the paranoia started coming in then, you know, that comes with the cope. And I was like, "That comes, what you made? That's an unmarked car over there, they're looking at me." And so I was like, "Right, I need to get the fuck out of here." So I started going back to the house, and I remember saying to the woman, like, "I'm just driving back to the house now." She's like, "You're driving the car?" And I was like, no, I'm driving the van. I was thinking, like, it's grand. She's like, "I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to end this call. I can't be talking to you while you're in control of a vehicle. And I know that you're
under the
influence of alcohol and drugs." And so then that was like, I'm after reaching out, and they basically told me to fuck off. You know,
that's what you heard.
That's what I heard. That was my
interpretation
of what was said. No, you're a danger to yourself and to others, and I can't be a part
Which
of that.
Which is the truth.
Yeah.
You just heard she doesn't want to help me. I'm a waster. I'm no good. I'd be better off if I wasn't here.
So I was like, "Right, well, you know what? Like, fuck you, you know." So I went back to the house, and when I got back to the house, like, just that voice in my head of Aria, like, it was so strong that I was like, "I ring me uncle. Like, what's the worst?" Like, you know, so. And I'd been told, you know, certain people who would have known that I had been, that I was using, you know, they had said to me, "You seem to be using a bit more, like, than you would, like, just on a weekend or something like that." And I remember saying, like, "Yeah, but I'm not like the rest of them guys out there." You know what I mean? Like, I'm not fucking stupid.
Yeah,
I can use, like, I'm not gonna.
I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I have this under control. You know, what a load of bollocks. You know, what a load of bollocks. Because I had nothing under control. You know, like, in step one, you talk about the powerlessness that over the drug, like, and
the unmanageability of life.
Unmanageability was rife in my life. Like, again, I didn't see it because I was just the norm. This was how it's been. This is, I didn't see it. Like, and the powerlessness that I had, that drugs had over me. Like, again, I didn't see it. Like, so I reached out to my uncle and he rang Gary, and Gary was shocked. Absolutely shocked. Like, when he heard that what the problem was, Gary was in Wexford. My uncle came out and got me. He held me until Gary came up and brought me to a doctor, and that was the start of what I thought was going to be the end, but it was only the beginning.
Yeah.
I thought this was my rock bottom.
Yeah.
So from then, I got into a program in Kilmoyne, a 12-week day program in Kilmoyne, lasted 11 weeks, relapsed. Got into a program in Kilmoyne out in Blanche then. It was in the evenings, another day program. There was two counsellors that used to run it. One was a black girl from South Africa, really hard to understand, really like thick African accent. But I didn't want to be there. Like, like I had convinced myself I wanted to be there, and I convinced my family that I wanted to be there, but it wasn't done.
You weren't ready.
I wasn't done. I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to give up drugs.
That compulsion, when it's still there,
Yeah.
nothing you will do will help with that compulsion until you're at the place where...
And being in these programs and talking about drugs made me want to use coke even more.
I have heard that
other
before.
people's experiences,
people,
like, so it just didn't work. I wasn't ready, and that's the be all and end all of it. Like, I wasn't ready. So for about a year, it was a year more or less, I was in and out of the home. I was living in my mum and dad's. I was living with my uncle. I lived with a friend for a very short period of time. And every time Kira fucked me out, it was like, on one side of the coin, it was like, how can you do this to me? Like, this is going to make me worse. But then the addict on my shoulder was like, fuck her, you've got free reign now, And it was the same when it all came out. My dad sacked me. Like, again, I was like,
I'll show you.
Yeah, but not even that. I was like, how dare you fucking do this to me when I'm at my lowest, But I was fucking useless.
It's the me.
Not thinking about like the effect I was having on the jobs with the other lads. Not thinking about the effect that, like, nobody knew what Kevin was coming into work that day. Everyone was walking on eggshells because it got to a point where I was getting no sleep. I was still full of drugs going into work. You couldn't say anything to me. I was extremely aggressive with me words. And that nearly ended in a I was very, very close to having a physical altercation with me dad. Only for Gary was there. So it would have happened, like, and that was down to the pure, like, deep anger that I felt towards me dad, because I felt, I suppose, that he never understood me.
And now you're judging me. It's like, that's where you're at. I can identify with all those things and the anger. And you feel so hard done by. So hard done by, Kevin.
It's like, I don't know. Like, it was just like.
No, I get it, and it's when you're before you have started to get well, and put away the substances or the drugs, whatever it is. That's when you feel like, it took me, I'd say, a year out of Ashaway. I was still very, very angry at particular members of my family, and particularly my mother. Like, she would always be. The rest I was able to let back in, and they let me back in, should I say. There we go. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, feel okay around them and talk to them, and not straight away be apologising, because I knew sorry meant feck all to anyone. But I think the hardest ones are the parental ones, and if you're in a relationship as well, particularly like yourself with children involved and in it a long time, they're the hardest to repair, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think when that happened with me dad, I was like, in my mind, I was like, you should be doing everything you can here to help me, not throw me under the bus, you know.
But you can't help someone who doesn't want help.
But that's it. And he didn't know, like, he
It's his
didn't know
first
what to do.
experience.
Like, he didn't know anything about drugs. He never thought that one of his kids would become an addict.
Yeah.
You know,
It wasn't for him, like, you know, it wasn't supposed to happen to his kids. I did all the right things, and
I'm sure every parent feels the same way.
yeah.
Like,
Well, do you know what I think though, Kevin? I do feel like when you grow up in a place like Sheriff Street where we grew up, and it's rife and it's all around you, I don't think there's too many people who say I never thought that wasn't going to happen. But I do understand where your mum and dad grew up and we're having a business, and it won't happen to us, so we're doing all the right things. But it's not true, is it? And you know that in rehab, because when you look around, I used to think it was because of where I came from, it was because my dad died, it was because of my stepdad, so I blamed all that. And then there was this country girl beside me, and they had a turkey farm, and she was like, had the complete opposite upbringing to me, and here she was in the bed beside me in the treatment centre. It was our 7th treatment or something. And then I started looking at people from different walks and saying, it's not just about where you come from.
Yeah.
It affects everyone.
What did they say? Like, addiction doesn't
have any preferences.
Yeah, like there's, addiction doesn't care if you come from a wealthy family or
doesn't care about classes.
Yeah,
doesn't give a shit about class system.
Yeah, it is what it is, you know.
Yeah.
And it's available for anyone, you know, who wants to buy into it.
So to tell us a little bit about Astral Rain then, because I'm just watching, we're on 1:30, so will we just...
Yeah, so so that year was multiple suicide attempts, or cry for help, whatever way you want to call it, you know, rope around my neck, out driving my motorbike, like at crazy speeds, weaving in and out of cars, hoping that they would knock me off because I didn't
want to kill yourself.
I didn't want to kill myself, you know.
Yeah.
I wanted to die. I thought dying was going to be the root of all my problems sorted. You know, I had convinced myself that Kira would move on, the kids would, you know, have a new daddy, that everyone would just forget about me. But that's like, you know, like how wrong would I have been? You know, I've dealt with suicide, you know, close to a friend of mine, like, you know, I met in treatment, and you see the devastation, like, you know, and even from Jared's death, you see the devastation that it causes. That it brings, you know.
It's funny that you say that, because I used to drive this white fast car when I was only out of treatment, and I remember I'd be driving up towards a tree, and the car, you wouldn't even realise you were going 130 because it was one of them smooth sort of, and I used to say, if I just pull the steering wheel and hit that tree, everything is all over. I don't have to be thinking, feeling the way I am. It's lights out for me. But because I knew the death that devastation brought to families, I was like, you're going to add more death to these kids' lives. So they're never going to be well. They're never going to be okay. And it was only because I had experienced so much death that stopped me. But I used to say, why can't someone just hit me and then I'm not responsible? Exactly what you were saying there, Kevin, you know?
So I suppose then it was about a year after the first incident where they came out to the family about the addiction that we ended up in the back of the van, parked in a lay-by on the M1, using coke, drinking, smoking weed, locked myself in the back of the car, had a bag in the front of the car, in the front of the van, full of sleeping tablets, Hylex, Solbidol, fucking codeine and all. And unbeknownst to me, the family had rang the guards and you know, because they were concerned about me, and the guards ended up, I could hear everything happening around the van, and I was locked in the back of the van because I had these security locks on the van, so they couldn't open it from the outside, but I could open it from the inside. And the guard got into the front of the van. He's like, "There's a load of tablets in here and all, but we don't know where he is." And then he got out of the van, and I was like, "Fuck you, I get back into my van," and I locked the van then.
From the inside.
From the inside, now, like, thinking like,
now you know you're in
fuck
there.
them. But that's it. Now you know I'm in there. And I can hear them talking, saying, like, "Get someone out here with a crowbar. We need to get into this van." And so it was about an hour we went on for. And they ended up just opening the side door. I tucked the wrap of gram into the waistband of my trousers, into my boxers, and I opened the side door. I just sat there, and it was about 10 minutes before one of them realised that the door was open. And I was taken in the mental health section into Ballymun. And this is the ironic thing about it, like, doctor wouldn't see me because I was under the influence, wouldn't assess me, so they just let me go. I refused to go with Gary. Gary was waiting outside for me. I refused to go with him. We ended up getting dropped, rang around a few lads, ended up getting dropped to Singles to a friend's house who was nice enough to take me in. He had young twins at the time, probably between 1 and 2, I'd say. Put me on the floor in his box room, and I done the other bra. I remember eating it, nicking my fingers and eating it, because I didn't want to wake the kids, or I didn't want them to hear me sniffing it. I mean, I was fucked at this stage anyway. Like. So that was the fall from grace, say, you know.
That was the this is over.
That was the this is over. That was like something else to give here, you know.
Yeah.
You can't kill yourself.
Yeah.
I've tried, you know, because I swallowed tablets. I swallowed 20 Tylex one night after 3 grams of coke, and I woke up and died for 2 days.
Yeah.
I was disgusted. I remember being fucking disgusted when I woke up.
Just goes.
Fuck's sake. So I tried that, didn't work, you know. Tried to use, unsuccessful, wasn't using, because I was getting, I'd been to NA at this stage, I was getting a little bit of,
once you,
the mentality was coming in, you know. And so I was at a point where I just didn't know what to do. So Ciara allowed me to come back to the house. At some stage, I don't know whether it was a Gary or Christine, that I had a conversation with yourself. And this is what's after bringing this on, you know, because I sent you a message there a few weeks ago, because I've been listening to the podcast, and you know, I think I said to you that, you know, I don't know if you know, but you've such a huge role that you played in me getting to where I am today, because you planted the seed of Asherie. So I remember Gary coming into me and saying, like, there's a place down in Wexford, and that's where Lisa Bourne went, that she's doing great, and would you, if I can get you an assessment, would you go? And I said, yeah. Because I'd be in bed for a week at this stage, and my ma was in tears talking to me, like, I didn't want to burden my family with another bill, because someone...
It was all too much at that stage. You had the power of desperation, as they like to call it. And you have to have that, Kevin. I don't care what anyone says.
Well, I didn't have that the year before.
No.
You know?
Look, I went to Smarmore in 2018, and I was bad, but I wasn't desperate.
Yeah.
But I went into Asherie on all fours.
Like, and I was the same.
Yeah,
I remember getting the assessment done, and I think within 4 days...
You were in?
I was in.
Yeah.
And problem was, I went in with the same head on my shoulders. Of
course you did.
On the outside, you know.
Yeah.
I thought I had to portray this fucking Billy Big Bollocks, fucking I'm better than you. You know?
Well, you're in rehab, right? You can't buy them sweets. You can't take the money out of your pocket and say, look what I have. All the tools you are using from a young child. You're like, I have to show you who I really am in here. That's fucking scary, Kevin. And they don't let you away with absolutely nothing. You do that step 1 and your life story in 1 day, and then you got to sit with that, because it's a rehab centre. You ain't getting nothing in there.
Like, it was the best Asherie. Like, the way I sort of describe it, Asherie saved me life. NA has shown me how to live me life.
Yeah.
You know,
that's a very good way of looking at it.
When I went into Asherie, I knew that if I didn't go in here, that my family were going to be watching me being lowered into the ground, and that's the fucking reality of it, like, you know. But I still went in with this ego, you know. I didn't know who I was, you know.
It's scary figuring out who you are. Who
Yeah,
am I?
like, what's going to happen in here for 4 weeks? Like, how the mortgage going to be paid? Like, you know, just
Trying to leave that there and focus on you is very
it's
difficult.
very hard, like, you know. And you know, Gary, like,
he's a great
just
guy.
amazing.
He's
you
an
know,
absolutely great guy.
Like, I genuinely don't feel I'd be here today if it wasn't for my brother.
Yeah.
You know, I really do.
He's,
Even when my dad, like, I wouldn't say my dad gave up on me, but my dad got to a point where he
just couldn't do it anymore.
You know, I had a really fractured relationship with him when I went into treatment. Gary never did. Gary was the one that chased me down there. I remember him chasing me on the M1 one day, and I clocked him. And I came off at the petrol station round the roundabout the wrong way, back on flat to the mat, like, and I got and I lost him, like, and I was in a van full of tools, but I was just flat to the mat. You know, but he never gave up on me, and a week into Asherie, you know, we had the first family day. Kira came down. I asked her if she still loved me. You know, all the wrong questions I was asking, like, you know, because I was in there. And
to get someone to say I still love you after how hard I'm feeling, but I do know, you know what you're talking about.
Still making it.
You wanted it, yeah. Tell me you love me.
Yeah, still.
Tell me I'm important.
100%, like, and you know, didn't hear what I wanted to hear. Obviously, you know, really struggled to hear coming from Kira what she was talking about in the family day, you know, because they have this is their turn to give it to you, and you can't do nothing about it. You sit there, put up and shut up. And so then the next day, you know, that night, then you have to write about it, and my mind was just hollow, like, you know. All I could think about, the only thing that was going through my mind was she said she doesn't love me anymore, and fixated on that. And that night, then told the night nurse that I felt suicidal. The next day in group, didn't talk really. I know the counsellors are trying to get me to talk, and then remember one of the lads that was there from Cavan, he just let me have it.
There's always one that'll give it to you.
This was his second time in treatment, and I remember him saying to me, everything someone says, you have to one up them. He said, if he said he hung 3 doors in a day, you have to hang 4. And I was like, how fucking dare you? I'm not fucking like that at all.
Yeah.
But I was. And it was, again, it was that
the
ego and feeling like I had to be better,
performing constantly,
just to try and keep up the charade that I was after creating, you know. And
it stays such a long time, though. It doesn't just fall off.
Yeah, like, this was natural to me. This was how I went about my daily life.
You just thought that's who you were.
Yeah, and so that was it. Fuck you.
You walked out them doors, didn't you? You walked out, though. I remember hearing, because I've been checking in on you. Yeah. I had been ringing Gary and Christine asking how's Kevin doing, and all I was getting, he's doing great, he's doing all right, he's doing. And then I get a phone call. He walked. I was like, no. I was like, what the? So you got it. You went because Asherie is in Wexford. You went to the mobile.
No, I had no money. I had nothing. I remember I made a show of myself. Holy show of myself, threatening staff, threatening to kick in doors. Give me my phone, or I'm gonna pull the fucking unit off the wall, and I'll get it myself. Dave, the manager came down, took one look at me, and said, "There's no point in me talking to you, is there?" I said, "No." Was giving me bag, packed me bag, walked out the door, and then out the gate. And I remember walking out the gate, thinking to myself, now you're fucked. Now you're done. Because you've been given an opportunity here, and you've fucked it away. Now, like, you've nothing left now. So again, the suicide came back into my mind, and I didn't know, but as I was walking down the road towards the harbour, Laura was following me in her car the whole way down. But then I jumped a couple of walls in the car park at the Talbot Hotel and walked back up the train tracks. I was going to throw myself in front of a train. So, again, Gary got the phone call as he always fucking did, you know. And Gary came down looking for me, and I think Laura had told Gary the last time I seen him, he was walking down the train tracks. So when you come into Wexford, the train tracks cross over the bridge, and I never forget Gary telling me, like later on, that he came into the bridge and he saw the trains running, and he knew that he wasn't after throwing himself in front of one of them, and hearing
because they suspended
they
them.
wouldn't have been running. Like, and hearing that coming from him, like, was
have that fear about you,
like,
brother.
it broke me fucking, it really broke me fucking heart. Like, I really felt that here's the person who always was there for me, never gave up on me, paid for treatment for me, tricked me into thinking it was free, but paid for me. And hearing him talking about, like, that's how I made him feel. So I got a few days respite, and luckily enough, I didn't drink, I didn't, you know, so they said, look, go have a weekend with your family and come back to us. And
they took you back in, didn't they?
They took me back in.
And you finished Ashery.
I finished Ashery, and it's the best thing I ever did in my life. I went back in, I completely let go of everything that I held on to. What's the word? I can't think of the word now.
Their own self-will that was running riot for so long. That's a big one for us, though, Kevin, when you can sort of let that.
Yeah, I just gave everything that I had to the program. You know, that they were running in there. And I can't. My mind is going blank.
No, you're okay. Look at what we're at about 1:45 now, and I just I want to say though, because when you got in touch with me, you sent me a beautiful message, and I hadn't spoke to you in a while. I think since I was last in aftercare.
Aftercare, because I left after.
You left. And I just thought to myself, I don't know what's going on with him, you know. I didn't know. And I'd been asking, how is he? And I knew you were still sober. But I was a bit concerned. I was like to myself, so I said to you on the message, look, if you wanted to share your story. And then I was like, oh my God, what if he doesn't want to share about, you know, I was scared. That's all I'm saying to you, Kevin. I was a little bit scared because I knew in aftercare there was still that little bit of, you weren't fully sort of letting go of. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about.
No, 100%. But it's all that's all.
But this is what I'm saying.
You know, I know the trust that's in the rooms, and I know the trust that's between.
Yeah. And sitting here with you now, and I was like, oh my God, he's got it. He's got it. So I was relieved because I didn't know which way, you know, when you haven't been speaking, and because I had that little bit of experience with you. I remember sitting there saying, this little fucker now blaming, saying that he's leaving this aftercare because I'm in this group and he doesn't trust me. But look, that's how that's how addicts are. And like, you know, it works differently for everyone, the program. I'm so happy because I know you have a new partner and you have a new little girl too. Her name is Bobby, and she's 17 months, isn't she?
17 months on the 15th of this month.
You took over your dad's business.
My dad.
So you've a new 17. You have 2 girls with Cara. And I was delighted to hear this because I was nervous because of it. So your Christian's brother-in-law, but they're also my cousins. So I was like, oh shit, I don't know whether this is all right. And then I couldn't believe Christine told me that you and Kira's getting on better than ever. Is this true? You're all having Christmas dinner together? You, the new partner, the new baby, Kira with both your 2 kids. Gary, your ma.
Christine.
And I said to Christian, what the fuck? And then I said, that's recovery. Yeah. That is recovery, Kevin. Because I knew where you were at, and I knew, and rightly so, but that's people who have truly moved on. To be able to sit there with the new baby. And she says, Shakira has nappies and food in the house.
Fairness, it's
don't
amazing.
Get me wrong,
there's gonna be there's inevitably probably gonna be a little bit of awkwardness there between Grace and Kira, but like they've met on so many different occasions
that it will
talk.
Yeah,
they, you know, they
Isn't
do
that
get on
amazing,
well.
Kevin?
It's brilliant. Like, you touched on something earlier on where you were saying about sorry, like, and how it doesn't carry any weight, because it's been said so
So
many
many
times, it's just been
times.
burnt out, and the only way that I've been able to say sorry with my family and with Kira is by maintaining my recovery, showing up for my kids, showing up for my
And
family.
that's the biggest sorry,
You
Kevin.
know, and that's why I think me and Kira are where we're at now, because of the honesty between me and her.
Because it's been consistent, Kevin.
Yeah, she sees that we're okay.
And now she trusts you again,
Yeah.
and she understands. Debbie said a great thing. Debbie was before you, and I thought, I got to keep this. And a girl said to her in this treatment centre, you need to let your sorries be sorry. And I thought, because these people, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and they keep doing the same thing again. So it really sounds like you let your sorries be sorry, Kevin. No, it's amazing to see, because I know it's been a really difficult journey, and what a journey it has been. I know you didn't grow up exactly like us, but it's great for people to hear people from other backgrounds, and to have the understanding you have now. And look, you've met two girls that had completely different backgrounds, and I know the type of husband Gary is and father, and I certainly know that that's the way it seems to be for you.
Yeah, I try and model. I try and model myself now on how Gary is with his kids.
And I think that's a great idea, because I know I've spoke about Gary in the past, but he really is one of those good guys. I wish you all the best, and I know we could do this again, but I have a question for you.
Yeah.
We could look at with every guest. We could speak forever, Kevin, but I always trying to keep it under the 2, and we're about 150 now. So obviously you probably know what I'm going to ask you. If you could tear down any walls internally or externally, what would be the one wall that you would tear down, Kevin?
I think because I've been listening to the podcast and I've heard this question, I've put a bit of thought into it. I think the biggest thing that I would tear down is the stigma around addiction, around people not understanding that it's a disease, and that I don't do this shit because I want to, or that I enjoy it, but that I'm not able to control it, that it is controlling me, and I think people look at drug addicts on the street, and I used to do it myself, look at that junkie, and I don't use that word anymore, because I was a junkie.
Yeah.
It was a different type of junk.
It makes you look at things differently, doesn't it?
So tearing down the stigma of addiction, and for people to realise that it is a disease and it's not necessarily a choice. That I never woke up one morning and said, you know what, I'm going to be a fucking addict.
I'm going to be a fuck up.
Yeah.
No, and that's something that I say, as parents, it's to protect and love and support. But unfortunately, when we're drinking or using drugs like that, we lose that. And if I can just say, because I know you have 2 little girls, and this is coming from a 43-year-old woman who grew up without a father, I know no matter what happens in your future, but those little girls will be so fucking happy that you never did, or you never succeeded in taking your own life, because the world is a much brighter place to have a man who loves you and can protect you and support you throughout your life. Kevin, so I'm certainly delighted that you're still here and you're able to share this conversation, and I know you're helping a lot of people with everything you do in NA and your girls, and I really do wish you all the best. Thanks so much, Kevin. All right, give you the hug. I don't know about a hugger, I never know.
I'm always a hugger, yeah.
Kevin, thanks so much. I do have to say, because I get real nervous, Kevin, I said, if I ever, oh my God, imagine just hitting the wrong button.
It's mad, like, I know I didn't speak about it there, but like, when I heard